CBSE Board, Class 11, History, Chapter 3, Part 29, Audio by Renee Matthew. Half the total number of African slaves were imported into the Americas in 1750. There were individuals who owned as many as 1,000 slaves. It was like a trade for them to own people, to own human beings. So many people started owning slaves now. You can see the picture on the screen where people are treated very badly. Look at their health condition. Of course, it is only a painting. You have a lot of real pictures also, but they were treated very badly by the explorers. So there were a lot of debates which took place in the 1780s on abolishing slavery. It was not very easy. And they also argued that slavery existed in Africa prior to the entry of the Europeans. There were a lot of slaves in Africa itself. Bulk labor force was there where the natives themselves used to enforce their authority over the Africans. And it started from the 15th century, not after the Europeans came necessarily. It also pointed out that European traders were helped by Africans who helped capture young men and women. So there were some people in Africa itself who wanted to help the Europeans to capture their own natives and sell them as slaves in return for crops. And some of the crops which got imported from South America were maize, manioc, cassava, which became their staple foods. So it became their staple food, and that is why they wanted to help them. And in the autobiography of a person, of a freed slave, Oluda Ikwano, he replies to all these arguments by saying that slaves in Africa were treated as part of the family. Okay, they were treated as part of the family. He says like that. He says it is not that our conditions were bad. In the 1940s, in his book Capitalism and Slavery, Eric Williams was one of the first modern historians who said about the suffering experienced by African slaves, who said that whatever Oloda Ikwani said was not correct. He said that maybe because of fear, he said that we were treated as part of the family, but that is not the correct thing. Here we can see in this book that he reassessed the suffering by the African slaves. We have come to the end of this chapter, that is the epilogue. In the early 19th century, European settlers in the South American colonies were rebelling against Spain and Portugal. They became independent countries, just as in 1776 the 13 North American colonies rebelled against Britain and formed the United States of America. So 1776 they got their independence. And South America today is known as Latin America. It is because of the Spanish and Portuguese people, and they were the most important influencers in these places, and Spanish and Portuguese became the most common used languages in these places. It was a part of the Latin family of languages also. The inhabitants, mostly native Europeans, were called Creole. European and African by origin. It was a mixture there which was formed Creole, okay? And most of them were Catholics. Their culture had many elements of native traditions which was mixed with Europeans. Because of the influence of the Spanish and the Portuguese, the language was different. There was a new group which was formed there, a kind of, you can say, mixture. It was a hybrid group which formed there, and they were known as the Creoles, the mixture of Europeans and the Africans. So this has brought to the end of chapter 3. In the upcoming audios, we'll discuss on chapter 4.